sun, my heart's aligned. Peaceful and strong, this life is mine. Unstoppable steps, I move with grace. Accomplished and calm, I claim my space. The mirror reflects the truth I see. Slim and healthy, I'm proud to be. With youthful strength, I freely roam. This vibrant body feels like home. I rise on the hard path where dreams unfold. A life of freedom, a story bold. From all I create to the love I give, I rise, I shine, this is how I live. My home's a haven, calm and bright, with gardens blooming in soft sunlight. A deck to gather, a pool to play, a sanctuary space to end my day. My work inspires, it lights the way, empowering women to seize their day. Through retreats, my voice in all I've planned, I help them rise and take their stand. I rise on the hard path where dreams unfold. A life of freedom, a story bold. From all I create to the love I give, I rise, I shine, this is how I live. Across valleys, shores, and Europe's streets, adventure calls where dreams and purpose meet. With loved ones near or solo flight, every journey feels just right. Cars that gleam, my clothes just flow. An effortless life wherever I go. My business thrives, I lead with care. A world of abundance is waiting there. I rise on the hard path where dreams unfold. A life of freedom, a story bold. From all I create to the love I give, I rise, I shine, this is how I live. With family's joy and laughter near, I walk this path with love and cheer. I'm balanced, warm and strong and true. I shine with purpose in all I do. This is my moment, my heart's design. I rise and thrive, the world is mine. On the hard path where dreams take flight, I shine my brightest, my guiding light.
Our monthly session. So this is the May session, Reclaiming Joy, Why Fun Isn't Frivolous in This Season of Life. And whatever season of life you're in, it's, as you kind of like go through cycles of life, sometimes you'll find little things will drop away, and as you drop things away, it's normally replaced with something that feels a bit like responsibility, and it kind of piles up, and then suddenly you may find yourself in a situation where you feel like you're doing all the time and there's not really a lot of fun. There's not really time for yourself, or and as you get older, fun obviously looks different to what it looks like in your teenage or early 20s, and it's different for everybody. But it's really interesting how just spending time for yourself and doing things that you really love can make a big difference in the day. All right, so we might just start just by just settling into this session. I like to just settle in, so just take a deep breath and get comfortable in your chair. As you're comfortable in your chair, just I want you to just think about your day and some of the things that you were doing today, which might have felt a bit heavy or um, even a bit out of alignment, or you kind of caught yourself thinking um, negative thoughts about it because you weren't sure if it was what you should be doing or how you're doing it. And just remember that when that happens, it's okay. And when that kind of thought comes into you, it's important that you catch it and you think to yourself that, um, it's okay to have these feelings. And that when you have these feelings come up, it's a message from your body. And you could do something really simple by just like tapping yourself on the back of the head and saying, thanks for that. And then kind of letting it go, and or reframing it, or you might want to sit down and work out, depending on what it is, work out what your next steps could be. So tonight's not really about adding anything to your plate. It's not about giving you something more to do or anything like that, and it's not really about fixing anything either, because one of the things that I often say to my clients is that they say, I feel so broken. And, that kind of term really doesn't sit well with me because I don't think that there's a situation where, unless you break a bone, we're not really broken as such. We're just in a different season of life. And so, what this is about, it's about noticing where you are now, maybe what has quietly slipped away that you might not have noticed has slipped away, but it's that time when you sit down and you're having a quiet moment and you think to yourself, oh, I haven't done this for a while, or I don't remember the last time I spoke to this person, those kinds of things. All right, so this is what this session's about tonight. And sometimes life doesn't feel bad. It just kind of feels like stop feelings. Hang on, it stops feeling like it's yours, like it belongs to you. And this is where the alignment comes in. So today we're really noticing where there's times in your life that you may have quietly stepped out of your own life. And most of us are mothers, and we've done parenting. We have done, juggling the balance between parenting, working, all of the appointments, all of those kinds of things. And it's not uncommon for things to slip away. And we're not judging ourselves for that because our little humans that we have raised are absolutely, the focus of our life. And this is where we can maybe find the balance between what we can do to serve us and what we can do to serve everybody else that we have to, that we end up catering for. So this session's all about joy, and it does kind of, you do sort of think like, when did joy become optional? And sometimes I know in the past I have had to kind of schedule in things rather than it just being like a thing that I did all the time, and it was something that was just like routine. I've scheduled it in, and I used to be an avid scrapbooker, and I still have all the things for scrapbooking, but I used to make time for it when I had a friend who was also there, but then she moved away, and then I kind of never made time for it in again properly like I should. Every now and then I'll get it to get things out, but it's not something that I think, okay, yep, I'm going to her house tonight because it's something that we always did. So it's kind of every now and then things will just slip away, and you don't notice it at first, and then after a while you'll think, oh, hang on, I haven't done this before. And this is because we've been living so much in this responsibility mode. And when we live in responsibility mode, we're really focused on our to-do lists, what needs to happen, who needs to go where. And as we're mothering the children that we've brought into the world, it is a big responsibility. And we kind of, when I think back to the person I was before I had children, I can't even really remember because it was so long ago. And I've learnt so many lessons from the kids, from my two boys, that I would never, ever replace. I just love that this has happened. But at the same time, that constant feeling of being needed by everyone and juggling things. And I'm lucky in that I've had a partner through my whole parenting life. But at the same time, that partner was always working, or sometimes he had two jobs and things like that. So I was left with the mental load of juggling everything again. So this is where we get back to the balance of trying to find the balance of the balls you need to keep in the air, and then rather quickly but silently, the ball that you need to keep in the air for yourself kind of gets dropped. It's one of the first things that we tend to do, and at the same time, we forgive ourselves for it because we're doing what needs to be done. We're making sure that our children have had great attendance at school and have met all of the medical appointments they need to make and all of these kinds of things, cleaning the house and all of that. It's very important, but it needs to be done. But then also at the same time, there's a time when you'll sit down and you'll think, well, I need some time for myself as well. And then when you might do that, you might feel the guilty part of you taking over in like, oh, there's so much to do. And here I am sitting down on the couch watching a movie. And it's easy. It's like I'm giving you permission to let that go, because it is easy to feel guilty for doing all of this. But at the same time, it's important that you are filling your cup in some way so that you can give it to other people. Because if your cup is only half full, then you're only functioning at half capacity to give to everybody as well. So it is important that you forget the guilts, and you sort of kind of jump on the I'll do it later cycle just for a moment so that you can take some time for yourself. And that will look different for everybody. It could be walking, it could be like a yoga session or a dance class. I was doing craft as well, going to meditation events, those kinds of things. And when I run my full day event, Reignite and Rise, it's a full day event. I fully appreciate that taking 5 hours out of your day to attend that session, for the women that come, it's for some of them it's like a lot has had to happen. They've had to juggle a lot just to be there, and I fully appreciate that. So I think it's important to remember that you didn't lose the joy. It's still there, still waiting to be rediscovered. Somewhere along the line, you just stopped making it a priority, and without realizing it a lot of the times. It's kind of just slipped away because the busy routines of our life has taken over. So it's important that we do allow time for other people, build connections, build relationships. Any relationship that we might have with someone, be it, someone in our family or even a work colleague or a friend. That's important to build up the emotional relationship between that, because when you're in a relationship with someone on whatever level, there's usually a level of some kind of respect and belonging, and then they also can be the people that also call you out and say, hey, don't you think that it's time that you did something for yourself as well? So if you're having a good network is very powerful, and some people have it, some people don't, and it's really important to also get that balance. Balance is going to be one of the keys for this. So time for yourself, time for other people as well, and finding the balance of those as well. And it might not be like an even balance. It might be time for yourself is, a little bit further down compared to the time that you're giving to others. And that may change as well, go up and down, depending on what the situation is. And I think also it's really important to remember the feeling like that, what it feels like to feel alive. And when you feel alive, normally it's when you're doing something that lights you up. So in human design, it's really important for manifesting generators and manifestors to be really doing things that light them up. And if they're doing something that doesn't light them up, then it's not worthwhile they're doing it, because they're going to do a pretty bad job at it, and it's just going to bring their mood down. So when you're doing something that lights you up, it's exciting, you want to do it, and it just kind of feels more alive. And when you balance that against being reliable, being the reliable person is great, but when you think about it, and you think about if someone was to describe you as reliable, it's okay. But if it was me, I like to think that I'm reliable, but then I would like to think that they have other things to add about me as well, if they're going to describe me as something else. So again, the balance, okay? So being reliable, always there for your friends, and feeling alive in terms of what can you do that really excites you, that really lights you up at the moment and gets you going. Okay. And then listening to yourself. So one of the things that I talk about often is chin down, and this is like really tuning into your body, listening to yourself, listening to what your body needs. And if you're feeling a bit flat, it can be as simple as getting up and putting on your favorite song and doing like a little dance, or just like free dance, just dance like no one's watching, just to lift your vibe for a little bit. It doesn't take very much to lift your energy. Breath work is amazing for that. You could do a 15-minute breath work session with some breathing holds, and your vibration will be lifted. So just doing that, it doesn't take very long to listen to yourself and lift up your spirits and your vibration. And at the same time, while you're doing that, you're still creating this energy that's overflowing to other people, and you're honoring yourself, and you're listening to what your body's saying. And this should be listening to yourself. Is your priority over keeping everyone else happy. And listening to yourself and doing these things doesn't need to take very long. So 1% of your day is just less than 15 minutes. So if you're spending 15 minutes doing something that helps you listen and tune into yourself, raise your vibration so that the energy you have can flow over to everybody else, that's going to really help you when you are in your community, and it kind of is putting you first as well, because if your cup's full, you fill your cup first before anybody else. And it's lovely to think we're going to keep everyone happy, but we also want to find the balance between people pleasing by keeping everyone happy and pleasing ourselves by really listening to ourselves and what is in the moment and what our body's telling us. So the over the time, our identity has, as we have evolved, we've gone from children to adolescents to teenagers to young adults, and along that time, our identity keeps evolving. And then somewhere along the line, we may have come into the identity of being a mum, a wife, a helper, a employee, or even an employer, depending on what your situation is. And these are all the roles that have been coming in. You may have been found yourself in the role of being carer, and not just for your children, but for a family member or a friend, that kind of thing. And when all of this happens, one of the roles that you find yourself becoming, whether you want it or not, is like an organizer. And there's all of these roles suddenly coming up, and without thinking of it, you're wearing all these different hats all at once. Or sometimes you might take a hat off, put a hat on, and it does become like a bit of a juggle to fit everything in. And slowly, that identity that you're the person that you knew kind of does slip away a little bit. So I'm wondering, at what point did your needs become the least important ones in the room? So this is just something to reflect, and it might be something that you may be aware of, but haven't really sat down and thought of it before. Or maybe you're here watching this because you are aware of it now, and you're kind of looking for some inspiration on what you can do to try and break out of that pattern. So at what point did your needs become the least important ones in the room? Okay, so yeah, something to reflect on. Right, so often we feel guilty about choosing ourselves, selfish even, and this is an uncomfortable feeling, and it's one that a lot of the women that I speak to, that I work with, they talk into this, and they talk into things like they don't want to leave their husband at home. If they go and do their own thing, what will they be doing? And they kind of make up like a lot of little stories about how uncomfortable it is for them to do something that's just for them. And this is something that when it comes up, I speak to the lovely lady about, because there's a lot of judgment around this, and the judgment has come from other people that they have known. It has come from their other people in their family. Myself, I think my biggest level of judgment has come from my mum, and I've tried to break away from a lot of this conditioning that I've had as I've grown up. And a child will grow up and they'll watch what their parents are doing, and our parents are our biggest teachers. But at the same time, we also have to remember that our parents were doing the best that they could with the knowledge that they had, and they were just mirroring what they saw their parents doing and so forth. So it's a whole intergenerational type of conditioning that is passed down. And when we start to look at this is where the selfish part comes into it, where you think, if I do this, I feel like could be selfish for me, and that I don't want to spend time away. If I do this, what's my husband going to be doing, or my partner going to be doing? Those kinds of things. If I'm away from the house, they're away all day, then sorry, they're at home all day, I'm away all day. Then when I get home, I've got to make up for it somehow. And this is what we've been conditioned to believe. And it really is important to really think about, in all of this, that working out what you want to do because you want to do it. And when you've got a partner who understands this. And so for me, when the first time I went, I was doing some things during the day, but the first time I went on a weekend retreat. It was 2 nights away, and my boys were, uh, they were probably just like early to mid teens. So they were kind of like, not, they weren't little. And before I went, I did everything before I went. I cooked the meals, cleaned the house. I did all of these things to set them up, because I don't know why. Whether it was because I was thinking, acting from guilt, acting from a sense of control. If I'm not there, how am I going to know what's happening? So I was trying to like micromanage and control what was going to happen. I don't know, no idea. When I got back, I don't think they ate any of the meals. They were in the freezer. I'd cooked them up like a few weeks beforehand. They didn't eat any of the meals. The house was tidy, and like everyone had had a good weekend, including me because I'd been away. But it was like I got home and it was like it almost seemed like the only people that missed me were the dogs, type of thing. I know that they missed me, but it was just like, oh, you're home, type of thing. And then as I did more of these things, it became easier. It took me probably at least at least 3 or 4 of these type of longer retreat type things before I stopped providing meals. So this is how it can take a long time to break out of the conditioning. The meals never got eaten. I still kept doing it. At least I guess I had meals in the freezer for, in the week. But now when I go away, I don't do anything except get myself ready. So I really have deconditioned myself from that. My children are young adults now anyway, so they're working. It's a little bit of a different environment for me now. But going back, if I could go back from what I know now, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't do all that, because it's building up the pressure of things, and then I would arrive at the retreat exhausted from getting everything ready. So so I think also one of the things to think about with this is that there's over the years in society there's been this kind of like praise for women who have self-sacrificed themselves to bring up their children and all of this kind of thing. And again, that's conditioning that can be undone, because praise for me is a bit empty. I'm an educator, and in the classroom I will give praise, but it won't just be, I'm proud of you. I will be saying something to the students about what they've done, that they did something well, that kind of thing. So, I think, being praised for self-sacrifice, and it's like people do things to just, put themselves on a pedestal. No one else is going to put you up there. So, yes, you may as well put yourself up there, but if you're going to do it, put yourself up there for the right reasons, that you're putting yourself up on the pedestal for balancing your life and, really nurturing yourself. I've already spoken about people pleasing a little bit, and people pleasing is definitely something that is conditioning over generations. And the biggest thing about this is that you want to help everybody. You want to be there for people, and it's really hard to get into the habit of saying no because you don't want to disappoint people. And when you're saying no to someone, it feels uncomfortable. And often when we say no to someone, when we say yes to people, we're saying yes out of obligation, and and we're doing it even if we don't want to do it. So this is like taking the joy away from us. But if we say no, it means that something else could come in that vacant space that we've just created. We've said no, vacant space is here. Something amazing will step into it. And this is a practice. So finding things that really light us up and give us joy, it's a practice. It's not something that would be, I wouldn't say that you'd probably do it. Like, it took me a few years to stop cooking meals for my family when I went away. So give yourself time and grace. Be accepting of the understanding that this is not going to happen overnight, and that we're all works in progress, and that we will go backwards. But so long as when we go backwards, we kind of keep going forward. That's all that we need to really be focused on here. So I just want you to think about this. So what if like choosing yourself doesn't take away from the people you love? And what it does, it actually gives back more, and it brings back more into that relationship, because the bond that you're creating is stronger from you filling up your cup. So if you've been to say, and you don't even have to go anywhere to do this. So if you're at home and you have decided, okay, I'm going to do 15 minutes of meditation every day, and you're doing that as part of your something to help find the balance in your life, and it's bringing you joy, then you're kind of like putting 15 minutes back into your cup, and then you'll be more refreshed, and the relationships around you, you might find yourself that with coming from a place of, well, I actually wasn't planning to talk about this, but here we go. So this, when something happens and you respond, often when your cup is not full, you respond in a way which is reactive, and it can sound aggressive, blunt, it can sound mean. Whereas if you're coming from a place where you've kind of had the real great balance, work-life balance, and you're getting your self-care and you're nurturing yourself, it's more coming from a space of response. And that's when you are responding to whatever's happened after potentially a pause. And you might have the pause in there because you are stopping yourself from being reactive. So an example I always use, and if you've watched a few of these, I probably have used it before. If a child spills a drink, it's really easy to become reactive. And it's not that you're cross that they've spilt it or anything like that. It's just because now it's added an extra job to your list. And depending on what the drink is, it might be a long clean up because, if it's soft drink, it's sticky. The floors might need to be mopped a few times to get rid of the stickiness, all of those kinds of things. So these things are, you don't mean to be reactive. And so straight away, As, especially in that situation, as soon as it comes out of your mouth, you're probably like, oh my God, why did I say that? And then you say to, like, oh, I've done it with my kids. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do it like that. And, it kind of like goes like that. Whereas if you're responsive, um, you can feel the emotions coming up and you're like, and then you respond. Okay, so it's honoring yourself, it's honoring the person that you're speaking to, the relationship, and what you'll find is that your cup won't get depleted as quick when you come from a space of response rather than being reactive. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to just have like a little bit of a reflection. So if you've got some pen and paper, you can grab that. And we're just going to jot down some things. You don't have to do like full-on journaling or anything like that. It's not like that. It's just you making down some notes. So I want you to think about what you have stopped doing that you used to enjoy. So this could be things like listening to music, dancing, reading, creativity. So for me, scrapbooking, but I don't always, like every now and then I'll get the urge to do something creative, and for me to get my scrapbooking things out, I just do colouring in instead. I don't have, I don't find that the idea of scrapbooking lights me up as much at the moment. So for me, that's, I just do some colouring in. I've got some colouring in books and I just use that. Maybe you haven't been as social and going to coffee with friends was something you used to and it's kind of slipped away. Going for a walk. I love bushwalking. I also do a lot of walking just around my local suburb, and then every now and then I will organise a walk with some girlfriends, and we'll go to Parawira or somewhere, like a local national park, and do some walks through there. I love hiking. Um, Maybe there was some learning that you used to do, some classes you used to take, like yoga or something like that, you haven't really had the time for now. Um, Adventures. So for me, this is probably not really something that I was able to change, but I haven't been on a holiday for a long time. I'm going on a holiday soon. I can't wait. But that was as a result of a number of things that happened in our life. It started with COVID, and when you own a business, when you owned a business in COVID, there was lots of impacts, and it's taken a lot of businesses to recover. We've only kind of really just recovering now. So adventures. So I have been on some retreats, but I haven't actually been anywhere out of the state since 2019, and I'm leaving the state soon. I can't wait. So, those kinds of things. And like I was in a situation where that wasn't possible for me. So instead, I did used to go away, like little places around the state, little retreat weekends or days even, that kind of thing. And how much quiet time do you have? Do you have enough quiet time? And with that quiet time looks different for everybody. Um, Sometimes I find myself now in the house here where I'm the only person in the house. And, so my oldest child is 23. So for 23 years, I've always had someone with me. Um, and now I often find myself on a Sunday, I'll have the house all to myself, and that's so beautiful and quiet. And I sometimes will just sit, um, not really meditating, not journaling. I'll just sit sometimes in the lounge and just listen to the outside noises of the birds or whatever's happening. just a little quiet time to just absorb. Yeah, so what have you stopped doing that you used to enjoy? So yeah, you can just write down some of those little things. So the second one um, is I want you to think about what do you often think about doing but don't. And this is like one day I will do it. And I've actually just going to, I'll show you this that I have. So this is my Rise and Thrive planner. This is from last year. And this Rise and Thrive planner, this is from my 12-month program, Your Best Year Yet. And every month we have a different focus. And we are currently, May is our focus is self-care. But at the beginning of the book, we have a whole, like we have a whole thing here. I call it the Dream It, Do It list. And it's like a bucket list. So we have 2 pages. So we've got 52 items. And this could be like your 1 day list. So you write it down. As you do it, well, tick it off. I've actually highlighted things. As I do them, I've highlighted them. So it's important that this is like a way you can manifest things, because it doesn't have to be expensive things. So one of the things I've got on here is like a day trip to the Barossa. So I live near Gawler. So for me, a day trip to the Barossa is really only like an hour drive. Not even that, really. Not even that, because I pretty much live on the doorstep of the Barossa. But going to the little towns and walking through the main streets and getting an ice cream and those kinds of things that might not, it doesn't really cost a lot of money. Another one I had was just spend a warm night at the beach. And that doesn't need to cost any money either. Just go down the beach, bit of petrol, which I know at the moment is not really very, very, that could be expensive, but complete 3 random acts of kindness. So this is the kind of thing that is these are free things. I'm just trying to, go strawberry picking at Harndorf, those kinds of things. So there's a lot of things that you might be putting off, and maybe I'm asking you to think about. I've actually got this. I might when I do the replay, I might send this in the replay. I've got this as a 1-pager. And you can start adding your own things on here, so that it's not just a list in your mind, it's a list that you're writing down, and you can actually make it so that you can think, okay, what's on my list? What can I do this week? And look at it that way. Okay, so I also want to know, I want you to think about where you're waiting for permission. And this is, waiting for permission to rest or to spend money on yourself. I spoke already about our financial situation since COVID. It has been very tight, and apart from going away every now and then on a retreat or something like that, I haven't spent hardly any money, because we just haven't had as much money to spend on this. But that's why a lot of my things in the Dream It, Do It list are free things or very cheap things. So and it could be spending money on yourself. It could be things like treating yourself to a special meal every now and then or something like that. Buying yourself a coffee every now and then, to spending money on. One thing I used to do was not every week, but I would sometimes buy myself some beautiful flowers just to go on the kitchen table. Just things like that, just things that um, they're kind of like little luxuries maybe. But then it could extend to things like a day retreat, going to a spa day, or going away for a weekend. How would you spend money on yourself doing that? Something like that. Trying something new. There's always something new coming up. So one of the things I do have in my dream at Do It list was to do tree climb. I've done tree. I think I've done it 2 or 3 times. First time I did it, a bit nervous, a bit apprehensive, but I loved it. It was really good. It's a lot of fun. So sometimes when you try something new, you just don't know how much you're going to enjoy it until you do it. So that is really great. Go somewhere alone. Do you need permission to do that? I often go to the movies by myself, and I was going to go last weekend, but I got the time mixed up, and I should have done the shopping in the afternoon, not the morning, and I missed out on the movie because it was only on in the morning. So it's those kinds of things. So it's really nice to spend time in your own company. Sometimes just going for a walk by yourself. You don't always have to have a catch up with girlfriends and go for a walk or anything like that. You can just do it by yourself. Go for a drive. Just go somewhere by yourself. Have fun. So are you waiting to have fun? What permission are you waiting for this to happen? And this is like a really important one. What are you waiting for permission just to take up space? And by that, what I mean is just to acknowledge that you are the person that you are is like awesome where you are now, and that you are able to like accept yourself, know that you are enough, and that you don't have to compete. You don't have to be the people pleaser. You don't have to do any of these things that you've been conditioned over time to do. You just can be and take up space, and just be yourself. So those 3 prompts that I've given you, they're not about judging yourself. It's just about noticing the patterns. And these patterns are patterns that have been slowly building up over time, more than likely, and you wouldn't have noticed them until it started to feel uncomfortable. And I think at some stage, everybody has been in the people-pleasing mode. There's something about that. There's nothing. I don't know what we can do about it. It's just part of what we've been conditioned to be in this like people-pleasing. Don't want to disappoint people. What will they think? Those kinds of things. When really, the person that matters the most about what anybody would think is yourself. And if you're happy with where you are, if you're happy with the decisions that you make, it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks, because you can't control what anybody else thinks. That's their problem. That's up to them, what they think. It's not up to you. All right, so as we move towards the end, just want to remind you that joy is fuel that keeps you going. And it could be, you can set things up as rewards, but joy should be something that's part of your normal routine, not something that you have just as a reward. And we've been conditioned there's been a lot of conditioning. Work first. Okay, let's do this first. We'll do this first. We'll do this first. We'll get all the responsibilities out of the way first and do the joy later. So I fell into this trap on Saturday when I did want to go and see the movie. Admittedly, I didn't check when the movie was on. I just thought to myself, I will do everything I need to do Saturday morning, and then I'll go to the movie in the afternoon. So, which is then work first, joy later, but it was still that was the plans, and I didn't realise that the movie wasn't on in the afternoon. But if you're in you don't want to kind of like be in that situation all the time. There needs to be a balance, okay? Because often the later never arrives, and you then continue that work, and the joy part never seems to quite come along. Okay, so again, we're just finding that balance. So joy isn't what happens after life is finished. It's what helps you carry on and keep you going through life. And it's really important that you do have these little pit stops along the way to fill up that bucket, that cup, whatever you want to call it, because when it's filled up, you are going to be a much more balanced person for everyone else in your community. So the joy will, your energy will shift. I think I've talked about all of this before, but your energy will shift. Your motivation increases. So you heard people saying like, oh, I just feel really low today, or you might hear people saying, well, that sounds like really low vibe, or that kind of thing. It's like a low motivation type talk. As you are doing this, your motivation does increase because what actually happens is your body does start to create space in between all your cells, and they do vibrate at a different rate. So as you do this, you can actually feel it in your body. After a while, you'll feel happier, and you'll feel those little happy hits coming along, and it does feel much better. And then because that's happening, a whole heap of other things will just snowball. Your confidence starts to return, and your confidence is something I work a lot with my clients on, because confidence is about holding space for yourself and taking up space and really finding that balance and taking steps forward, knowing that this is the direction that you want to go in. So this is a lot around about confidence. That starts to return, and you might start to think about what more is possible for you. You might find that your creative urges return, and it doesn't have to be like a big creation. It can just be like a colouring in that you're doing. Or if you're musical and you can play an instrument, it could just be you getting out your guitar or piano or whatever it is, and just, dabbling every now and then. As all of this comes in, you'll find that your identity starts to reshape, and you become more aware of what you want. Your alignment starts to reconnect with back to yourself, and you start to really notice what your body's telling you. And then once you've done that, then it just kind of snowballs. Momentum builds up, it builds up, and it's kind of like a big cycle that goes around as well. And this is just from one little word, joy. It's amazing. Like one little 3 word can do this. So when you feel more alive, you naturally start engaging with life differently, and you become way more responsive, and you leave that reaction behind. And I have a little joy framework for you. And the joy framework, this is one way that you can think anytime that you think, am I in the right space now? Does this belong to me? What am I feeling right now? You might be thinking to yourself, you might be catching yourself justifying where you are, all of those kinds of things. And you just stop just for a minute and you think of the word joy and just remember that there is just one you. And remembering that there's just one you is like a little aha moment for you. And it doesn't mean that things are going to change overnight. All that just means is you're stopping for a moment and you're remembering that one small moment in time, one small choice or one small reconnection to yourself can have a big difference in your life. So anytime, remember the word joy, just one you. Okay, it's really easy to remember, and it brings you back to center, and it puts you in the center of what is important. Okay, and you are always going to be the most important person in your life, because well, your body automatically cycles through all the blood and does everything it has because it knows what its job is. And when we get out of our head, we know what our job is as well. And we are the most important person in our life. When we nurture ourselves, we have got the ability to nurture everybody else in our community, in our family, the relationships we have. So I want you to think about what small way you can bring joy back into your life this week. And it could be something really simple by saying yes to something. Okay, something that's bringing you joy or something that feels good, say yes, give it a go. Try something new, something different. If it feels like it might be draining or you just really don't want to do it, say no. Say no, and see what else comes in that time. In that time that you would have been doing something else, what else is happening? You'll probably find that something will happen. And it might not mean that another opportunity might come. It might mean that you say no to something, and then while you're at home doing housework, you might be listening to the radio or something, and you hear something on the radio which you would not have heard if you were doing the other thing. Okay, maybe sometime this week you can find time to just take time to be alone, reconnect with a new hobby. Maybe it's time to book something. Okay, book something, a show, or it could even be a time with a friend. I want to encourage this week to do rest. Find some time to rest. We're not going to be guilty about it. We're just honouring our natural rhythm of ourselves and we're resting. Maybe this week sometime you can find some time to listen to music, go for a walk, meet a friend somewhere, try something new. Okay, there's a lot of things. So I just wanted to remind you as I close up here that you're allowed to be more than the roles you've been holding. We hold on to a lot, and it's absolutely essential that we still keep holding on to a lot of the things we've been holding on to, because it is our responsibility to bring up our children and all of those kinds of things. But at the same time, there's things we can probably let go of, and just remember that we are more than these roles, and that your life doesn't need to look completely different. You just need to reconnect with little bits of you that have got left behind somewhere in all of the struggle to hold everything together. So I'm just going to remind you that joy, just one you. And when we have that just one you, I just want you to think about the season that you're in now. And maybe this season isn't asking you to become someone new, but maybe it's asking you to just come back to yourself and rediscover yourself and find out just a little bit of what has been missing. Because buried somewhere there is some spark, and I'm sure that you'll be able to find that somewhere. Well, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the June session. Actually, I think this might be the last session that I've got planned for a while because I'm going to be away for a little while. So anyway, I'll see you somewhere. And if you are not already, I really appreciate it if you would, if you are in my group, you can join my free group. I'll send you an email with the replay. The links will be in there. And I'd really appreciate it if you were able to go to my page and leave a review for me on my page. Thank you. Okay. All right, so I've stopped the recording. Are you sure you want to stop recording to the cloud?